Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Engine House. I'm your host, Gandy Dancer, and as you can see, things are still kind of a mess down here. We just kind of finished unpacking, and I'm holding the phone in my hand. I'm thinking about buying a different camera, but in the meantime, I also do not have my tripod unpacked, so today it's all by hand. As you can see, again, there's a lot left here to do unpacking wise, and I have to find a place, of course, to put all this stuff. So anyway, I'll get to some of this, what we're doing here, how things are going. First, some artwork. Here's a piece we had hanging in our bedroom. I like it. It's a watercolor, of course, camp scene. My very first command in the U.S. Navy, the USS Yosemite AD-19. A destroyer tender. She long gone now. Okay, and here's a piece I just picked up at a thrift store the other day. Not that big a deal. And we'll walk over here. And for anybody who happens to be familiar with New Hampshire and the Old Man of the Mountain, this is a piece my mother did. My mother's an artist. After, of course, the face slid off quite a number of years ago. It's a sad day for everybody from New England and especially from New Hampshire when the old man kind of fell apart. So my mother did this, sent it to me, and now it's hanging here in my basement. Here's a picture I took in my trucking days. This is Shea number 10, as you can see. And this was in Forks, Washington, back, I think, around 2011 when I was out that way. This during my trucking days. Nice piece of artwork I have here that we picked up in an estate sale. And I liked it, so it's down here. And, of course, again, there's some HO buildings here. They'll be out and about, but I'm not doing HO. New radio for down here, some more books up here that I have, and I don't know what I'm doing with the duck yet, but this was, of course, had doors on it. You can see doors are right there. I'm not going to have doors on it. There's a shelf here that's going to go somewhere. I have another one upstairs. I'll be taking these pieces off and just using it. And I'll be taking this down as well. I was going to have the layout originally about this height, but it takes off quite a bit here. So I'm going to move the layout down to about here. It's low, but you never know. The layout is going to come all the way to this wall and eventually push through to the other side. I have not figured out how to get this old receiver out yet. It's in there pretty good. It does go backwards to a point. I'll either cover it up or figure out how to get it out of there. We've had much more important things going on, so I haven't worried about it. Anyway, we'll come back around over here. And, I almost forgot about this picture. I took this in, of course, in Saskatoon a number of years ago when I was rolling through there. Again, during my trucking days. And another one here. This is a 262 in Lamar, Colorado. I stopped and shot a picture of that. And this is the Galloping Goose. This is in Soda Springs, Idaho. And I stopped and took a picture of it. I have, of course, my signs up that you saw in any of my older videos with my tiny workbench. This were just sitting there. And, of course, the other one is right there. And anybody who, this is an autographed letter from Teddy Kennedy way back when I lived in Castine, Maine. This was 1971. And picture of me with a 4-day-old cow. That's very old. I do a lot of other things, but before I get to that, we'll get to this. There's some gnomes here, railroad gnomes. I forgot who the artist is that did these. These were quite popular in the 90s. I just happened to have some. I picked them up cheap, liked them because, of course, the steam. And they were up in the house in the cabin in Idaho, and now they're here. I found this set here at a thrift store, and there are some Christmas coaches that go with it, and they will come out around Christmas time. Found this in a thrift store, as well as that and that, those two bookends there. And of course, oh, here's another piece of another photograph. Kind of hard to see here. My mother in the sleigh with me and my sister and my father holding the horse. This would have been early 1960s. Anyway, I have some, this here contains model railroad magazines, some dating back to the very early 70s, and I even believe there's a couple here from the late 60s. These are from 2011, 12, 13, 14. I picked them up as I found them. And these are some other model railroad books. Railroad Modeler. There's a couple others. Kit bashing. He mostly does. These were written mostly for HO scale. But, you know, the principle can apply to anything. And, of course, railroading books here. The Longest Wooden Railroad. Nothing Like It in the World, and of course other different railroading books and whatnot down here. And as I collect some, of course they'll be displayed here. And like I said, I do a lot of other things besides work on train stuff. This is from the 1960s. This is a horse that went with an action figure called Jane West, I believe. My wife has the Jane West doll. And this horse, and of course, has a saddle and Jane West came with a bunch of accessories and whatnot. Well, somewhere along the line, when she was a girl, the tail got broken. Her dad had tried to glue it on, and it didn't hold. And I tried to glue it the other day, and it didn't hold. I'm going to have to, when I have some time, clean this up a bit more and see if I can't find something that will hold the tail on. For whatever reason, I had a glue that just did not want to stick. Something similar to super glue. And I may end up with super glue, but we'll see. These two here are lamps that my uncle made. My late uncle made, I'm going to say probably 30 years ago. They were 110, and when I got them, and of course was living in the cabin, I converted them to 12 volt. I'll be converting these back to 110 volt again. At the cabin, one of these was on each side of the table on our nightstands, and they will be again once I convert them back to 110. That's something I'll be doing here in the near future. Now, this next piece is very special to me. It has a lot of history, and even though it is not O scale, it will find a place on my layout. This right here, my aunt, my mother's half-sister, was in the WACS, the Women's Army Corps, and she was part of the occupation forces in Germany in the 1940s, shortly after the war. I'm going to say 46, 47. Money, of course, German currency was not worth anything, and U.S. currency, they didn't. There's a long story about my grandmother sending things like cigarettes and tampons and whatnot in cartons of cigarettes, and not necessarily cigarettes, but contraband that would be on black market stuff. So my aunt could trade with the locals to get things, and somewhere along the line she got this and boxed it up and sent it to my mother, who at the time would have been about 9 or 10. And again, it is not O scale, and it is rough. It is, again, 1946, 1947. This is 2023. There are some slats missing on the fence. When unpacking it just now, it is so delicate. I have a bag full of parts right here. The glue is so old. Just in unpacking it, this came loose, so I'll be gluing that back down. There's some stones missing here that line the path. There's some gravel here that is missing. And I have all of, I believe, the porcelain figures. There's one here, there's one here. The craftsmen used whatever they had at the time. Right here in this spot, there was a pine cone that they had painted green and used as a tree. And I believe there was another one back here. And again, they are packed up in that bag. I'll be doing what I can to repair this fence. And you can see the craftsmanship on this. I don't know what the person used that did it, but it's very nice work here with what they had on hand. They used, again, pine cones for trees. The grass is actually gravel that they glued down and painted. Now, a lot of it's missing. Whether or not I find gravel that suits my purposes, is small enough I can glue back down and paint again, or just leave it, I don't know. You can see another figure there. Whoops, sorry about that. We're going to turn this around this way. There are other figures, of course, that go on this, and they're here. I need to, you can tell the difference that this is green, supposed to be green here. I started cleaning the other side prior to our move, and I need to finish cleaning this up. There's a lot of heavy dust on it from sitting. And I'll turn this completely around to here. And this is where they ended. I don't know if originally they had intended to finish this or if this is just how they left it. If they intended to go back more, I don't know. But this is what the back looks like. Very plain, very simple, painted by hand, nothing fancy. There's, of course, some piece of fence there in the move. And let me turn this around. I don't know what was here. It's long gone. Many, many years ago. I do have the chimney that goes here, and somewhere up here there's a porcelain bird, of course, is way out of scale. It's in this bag that is glued somewhere on this roof. I don't remember exactly where it was, but it'll be back on the roof again when I'm done. I'll be shooting videos in between as I'm doing railroad stuff. I'll be shooting videos of restoring this, so you'll get to see the process, and you can follow along. And it's not something, of course, that's going to be done overnight. This is very old, very delicate. I have to figure out what I'm going to use for the fence slats and the pieces that are missing here, and clean up a little bit. Again, it's going to take me probably a week or more of cleaning to get all the dust and whatnot off of this and to clean it up. When I'm done, it will be on the layout, but there's a caveat here. It will probably be in a plexiglass box. It's very hard to keep it clean. It's very hard to dust. My mother had it in a glass cabinet when she had it, and it still was very dusty when I got it. And of course, it sat in a cabin that was very, very dusty while I had it, and unable to work on it. I had no place to set it up and spread out. So it just sat. And now that I have a place here, this is kind of my temporary workstation, and the dresser here will be for parts and whatnot, so it'll be a lot of things that I will be working on will be in some of these drawers. and whatnot. So, I mean, now that I have a place kind of to spread out, I'll start working on this again. And you can follow along with me, but this is a very special piece to me, and it does have quite a history. So, again, it will be on the layout eventually. And as you can see, again, very delicate. That just fell off and moving it. So I will be re-gluing, sanding, staining, doing what I need to do, but first a good cleaning. So that will be going on the layout when it's finished. Okay, and again, the layout will be starting over here, going this way, and I'm not sure yet. It'll be an L. It may come out to this pole here. This pole here. It may come out and around this pole. It may, but it eventually will end up in here. It'll go through this wall and come into here and go at least to that wall. And it may, depending on what we do with the furnace, it may come further, or we may just use this area for storage. We'll see. Time will tell. But anyway, that's pretty much it for today. Don't know when I'll get a chance to shoot another one. Again, we just finished our unpacking, and we painted the kitchen walls. We did not like the color in there, so we painted it. And now it's just kind of a chance to relax. Tomorrow we will have been here 3 weeks, and it feels like we just are, we need a time to just catch our breath. So the next video I shoot will probably be starting on this. And again, I'm trying to get a better camera than my phone. Everybody's got to start somewhere, right? And I haven't got my tripod unpacked yet. It's in a tote out in the garage. So I need to get that set up. I need to get a seat. I need to get something to sit on down here. And I need to start getting myself spread out with my my tools and what I'm working on and when. So stick around. That's pretty much it for today. And I hope you enjoyed. And one last shot here of that was a curtain we had in the other house, and it's covering up a window, which I don't know if you saw in the last video, just briefly here, that goes nowhere. Actually, it would go outside, but they filled that in, keep the heat in the basement, I guess. So I just kind of hung this curtain. It was on our door in the cabin. I just kind of hung it in here. But anyway, that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, bye for now.